It's only because I refused to get to download Grindr and talk to you on it. I'm sorry.
You got to get with the times, Frank.
Righto. 2024, you can identify as anything, mate. You identify as a deer hunter.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That was rough.
That was a good one.
1, 2, 3, 4. You're listening to the Australian Hunting and Beyond podcast with Matt, where we talk about hunting, shooting, fishing, camping, and everything else that the great outdoors has to offer. Let's get into it. Hi everyone, before we get into tonight's episode, just wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. We just went through Christmas, so I hope you guys had an absolute blast with friends, family, loved ones, and got a heap of cool hunting and outdoor gifts. And as we lead up to the end of the year, just wanted to say a big thank you for all the listeners and supporters out there throughout 2024, and I'm super excited for what 2025 is going to bring. Couple of decent hunts coming on. I've got some pretty cool guests lined up as well. So looking forward to it. This episode is part 2 of the conversation with Frodo and Frank. And you heard a bit of a snippet from the end of the episode at the front there. Yeah, Frankie identifying as a deer hunter. I love it, mate. Big shout out to Frank and Frodo for jumping on the podcast and just being 2 top blokes, as you can probably gather. All right, I hope everybody brings in the new year in a fantastic manner. Be safe, celebrate, and I'm looking forward to a big 2025 and hope you guys have a successful one as well.
Have you had any Americans reach out? I was going to say Yanks, but they might find that offensive. So have any Americans reach out to you yet?
Yeah, a few.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Americans, they're the second highest group of listeners for the podcast after Australians. Yeah, so good. It's I think they're such different perspectives. Like while we do the same sort of thing, they're so different. The way they hunt and when you talk to them, and I always love having a US guest or someone from elsewhere just to hear the different ways and styles of hunting.
Yeah.
And that's always cool. And there's a lot of similarities, but you can see those differences too.
Well, I don't know how you can wait so long to go deer hunting, but when you can go deer hunting, you sit down in a tree stand all day and wait for someone to walk past you. That's what you're doing. You're sitting off a track. That's what they usually do in America, isn't it? Well, they did that saddle hunting, which is pretty much the exact same thing.
Same as stand,
Same as stand
different.
hunting. Like, or blind. Yeah, they're just literally sitting off a trail, and from the sounds of it, 200 meters down the track, there's, Big Bubba John doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Leroy's doing the same thing 400 meters down the track. So,
well, I think that's where the baiting comes in a lot more. And I get people sort of say, baiting's cheating for hunting. Like some, especially here in Australia, that's the sort of perception.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting in a tree stand all day, or multiple days, and that's your hunting, and you've got a limited time to get that done, and depending what access you've got and how big that property is, it makes sense.
It does make sense. Yeah, well, because most of their properties are only like 40 acres or something like that.
Yeah, they're not huge.
They're very, very small.
No, that's right, yeah.
They're very small, yeah. And they've got...
Big for Anthony.
Yeah, true. Big for Anthony. Take your day to cover what they wouldn't.
Yeah, well, mate,
It's an acre.
Sometimes I feel like I'm living on 150 acres.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
I was chatting to a mate the other day, Felix. I sent him, there's a Hawk Hunt Pro. It's like a little sort of chariot.
Yeah, a chariot.
Yeah, like you've got your wheels and you can drag it along.
Right.
And then it literally becomes a stand with a seat, like a lifeguard stand with a seat.
Man, that'd be cool for
hog deer. I
yeah.
saw it and I sent it to him and said, "This is the thing. If I ever get drawn for Snake Island for hoggies, this is what I want to get."
What's it called?
It's called the Hawk Hunt Pro. Hold on, let me have a look. I saved it because I went that That's awesome. Here it is here. Hawk Transformer Hunt Pod. My apologies. Have a look at that.
Wow. Let's just look at this thing.
It's a ripper.
Oh, yeah.
Holy dolly.
How good's that?
Mate, up to 9 foot in the air. Jeez, Andy, it's 9 times your height.
You need a parachute.
Yeah, I would. Frank, you could just throw me up there, mate. And then when I'm ready, Frank, come catch me.
Come and catch you as you come down.
I'll jump off you and catch me.
Yeah, no, definitely.
How good's
definitely, that? Yeah, that's... Yeah, just set up a shop at the front of Snake Island as the hunters come off the boat. Yeah, buy one of these. What are they worth? Maybe we can't say because you might buy one. And
I don't know.
You might
Well,
buy
$20. I couldn't find a link to get them here in Australia. So I was struggling for that. I think it's in the photo I saw because it was on a US hunting Facebook group. I think it was on the Amazon US site. So it doesn't have anything on Amazon Australia. But their brand is, they got a heap of saddles, heap of tree stands, heap of sticks, like quite good gear, but not that product. But the Hunt Pod, geez, it looks good. I like.
So the brand is Hawk.
And imagine if you had a private property, especially if those crunchier times, you found you knew that property, you want to get a bit of elevation, you can wheel it in. Looks pretty lightweight, pretty sturdy. Sit up there.
I wouldn't mind saying it collapsed, but it just looks like a wheelbarrow, pretty much. It looks like it'll fall down into.
Yeah, well, it's got... Well, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Website? Oh, yeah.
Heaps. How good's that?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You can put your backpack and rifle on there. You can carry a deer out on that.
Yeah, you probably could.
Strap it to your back. Strap it to your dog, Anthony. How do you go with it?
Hey?
Your big...
I'll just strap it to you, mate.
What is you going to get? Irish Wolfhound.
Irish Wolfhound.
Yeah, Irish Wolfhound.
Well, that's not... There's a photo of a guy pulling it along. It's not that big when it's folded up.
Easy done. Obviously, he's in America, that guy. The hunt over cornfields and stuff like that.
It's not overly huge when it's folded up.
Imagine finding a track that goes into, on the edge of some state forest that goes into a bit apart.
Imagine trying to pull that through Nundle.
Murder dog. Trying to get that murder dog with that thing. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Just throw it down there and leave it there.
That's where you need those drones.
So I wonder if in New South Wales State Forest you could use that. Because it's technically not a tree stand.
I have to give young Joey a call and ask him.
I don't know. Because you can use blinds.
Yes.
But you can't use tree stands.
That's right.
So that technically, it's not a tree stand because it's...
No, well, it's not in a tree.
A structure of its own.
I feel like you can't use a tree stand in the state forest because they're trying to grow trees.
Correct. Well, I think so.
I think
they don't want to damage.
By you knocking off the limbs and stuff like that, like it'd be very easy for you to ring bark a tree, try and get a tree stand up there for someone who didn't know. But yeah, you're not interfering with any.
No, that's exactly right.
You're looking over the bush. Imagine having that actually like a.
So I looked at this because I had this on thing. So on the DPI, it just says tree stands must not be used on public land. It's not a tree stand.
We have to see how they clarify it. But it's a broad term. It's just like you got an indicating dog, but they still classify it as a pig dog.
I can sort I can sort of make the comparison for dogs though, because they're more talking about GPS, knowing where they are, etc., etc.
Well, it says it needs to be on a lead or it needs to have GPS
tracking
on it. Yeah, correct.
So you've got control over it.
You've got control over your dog. Exactly right. But that there, I reckon you wheel that in. The thing is just whether you put it in Nundle then.
That'd be a pain in the backside dragging that through Nundle.
I reckon that'd be really good over like pine saplings. Like pine saplings are about like a meter and a half high.
That Bago trip. Think about where you spent 30 minutes watching that horse that you were going to shoot. Until you worked out it was a horse. So, but they were only that would be the you'd be on top there,
wasn't it?
Yeah,
stallion.
He had the fifth leg.
That's but they were relatively short. There was quite a few like where we were hunting Bago there.
Yeah, and
if you had that to get above, it could definitely be a massive advantage.
Well, even where
but that Samba sign was.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right.
And he'd smashed all those
where
pines.
that wallow was, like that top of that track there.
Yep.
Like imagine
the wallow you swam in.
Yeah, the wall I nearly pushed you in. That one there. If you imagine being on the top of that track though, and just literally your background will be a big pine tree, and then you'd be just watching down that track, watching him see if he come up that way, or watching if he took the other track, or you better see him in the wallow.
Yeah. 100%.
What a great
Another
idea.
item to add to the list.
Yeah, that's right. Another thing to put on the trailer to take.
Yeah.
I had to buy the roof rack to put this on top of the roof rack
Yeah,
so I
that's
could
right.
take it on there to go. Yeah.
Need to maximise my success rate.
$20 cart's now turned into a $3,000 investment. You can see how it spirals real quick.
It's funny that it's
There's always something new to buy or something better.
yeah.
I tell you what, that Spartan bipod I got, holy crap!
I'm hoping to win one.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
The
Yeah.
magnetic one. Oh, how good's that? Don't have to have the bipod on the rifle, so as you walk around.
Is that the same one J.E. Wilds used on his video?
Oh, geez, I can't remember.
We're going to have to look at that because
I haven't had a good look at it.
He when he's hunting there in New Zealand, he'll have his rifle in his backpack, and he'll see a tar, whatever, and he'll come back down a little bit, pull the rifle out, screw on the silencer, and pulls out they're carbon fiber legs.
Yeah, they're light.
Yeah, and then literally
just a magnet.
He's got a metal thing there, and you see him push it on.
Yeah.
And then I don't see him screw anything.
No,
so I'm assuming that
sounds like that.
And then just walks up a little bit more, looks over. Yep, there it is. There, bang, shoots it, and you think, God, I want to go to New Zealand now.
If you haven't looked at them, for anyone listening, they're called the Spartan Javelin Light bipod system, and it literally, what I like about it is the fact that it connects with your in your rifle sling stud. You can still have your sling on, and it's just a magnet where you just can take it off and throw it on. They're not cheap, but you only need one bipod for your whole rifle. Collection.
That's right.
You just need the adapter. Put it on, you have 5 rifles, 5 adapters, and you just use the same one. Depending which way you put it on, it's either fixed or it can cant as well.
Right,
And then the legs actually screw. So you can unscrew the legs and you can change the height even to the point where if you want to get ones that you can stand up and shoot off. So you've got such flexibility on that one system. Oh, it's brilliant.
I know.
From those bipods, what were those brand Harris bipods?
Harris with the spring.
Harris were like
you open ting,
Atlas, wasn't it?
Ting as they come out.
Atlas. Yeah, look, I've got an Atlas. Yeah. It's a good bipod.
Just when the spring opens up and it makes that clanging noise, and then you're trying to pull the legs out, and you have like a one segment go tick, 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 tick as it come out.
The Harris is still quite popular.
Oh, they would be, but they got rid of that segmented style. Then they just had the turn screw ones where you could just move up and turn. And
well, they still have that style, the segmented one.
Really? Did you saw a heap of them when you were at the gun shop?
Yeah, we did. We sold quite a few of them actually
at the gun shop, right? Yeah. And who was buying them mostly? New hunters or seasoned guys?
No, look, mainly new hunters.
Yeah, right.
Because we didn't sell Atlas or anything there. So the guys that really knew what they wanted would be going Atlas.
Yeah.
And some guys we just want a bipod for the front.
Yeah, want a good bipod. Even we had the cheap knockoffs of the Harris as well that were $40.
Yeah.
Even some guys just give me that'll do. But they used to break all the time. I couldn't even remember how many we just replaced over the counter. He'd take another one. They would just fall apart.
And that's the thing, they'd break at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
After you've taken a shot on something and it's just the legs folded up. And,
Well, I've got one on my 17, but it's a 17 HMR. It's got no recoil.
Yeah.
When you're putting them on a 308 or a 270 or 3006, it's a couple of shots in and they...
And that's doubt in your mind that you don't need.
No, exactly right.
You don't need. Most definitely.
Yeah. No, we used to sell quite a lot of Harris actually when I was there. It was different. It was a different time when I worked there though. It was things weren't as expensive as they are now. People could afford to buy more higher end things.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think a lot of people are looking for quality budget stuff to get out there and at least get out there, right? Whereas back then, like, you know, we're talking probably, was it 11 years ago. 2013 is when I started there. Then I left when Joe was born, so it was I was there about 4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
But, you know, like a Blazer or something like that. You know, you could have one fully set up for $5,000. Now the rifle itself is about $7,000.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think it's also the quality too. Like, you think about the scopes, right? You check out a Zerotech scope now. They're pretty damn good.
a lot more have come on the market. A lot more.
Yeah. Technology's got
so much more.
Technology's got them up there.
And then the warranties.
Yeah.
Like, how do you fault Zerotech when it comes with a lifetime warranty?
Well,
and they just replace it.
If you're happy with the quality of the
glass
and all that, then yeah.
Well, that's like Vortex.
Yeah, like Vortex.
When I started there, Vortex was like the big thing because it was offering warranty like that. Yeah. They were priced reasonable. The quality of the optics was reasonable. Yeah. So everyone wanted Vortex. I had a couple myself and never had an issue with them. But that's what Vortex is like.
So you would have got a lot of new guys coming into the gun shop, right? And going, I want my first rifle. Give me a 338 Lapua with a 25 to 68 zoom on the top of it. And I want to be a real sniper.
Yes. Yeah, it was a pretty common scene.
How'd you talk them out of it?
Some of them you couldn't.
Really?
Some of them you couldn't. And I really felt sorry for the young guys that, you know, they might be an apprentice, a fourth-year apprentice, something like that, and they've just got all their money together. And at the time, the popular long-range rifle was the Savage 110BA in a 338 lap. Everyone wanted that. They were about $3,000. Occasionally, we'd have a bit of a sale on, or, you know, Nia, the supplier, would have a sale on them. So then, you know, we would sell them at like $2,500. Like holy like cheap as for a 338 lap.
Yeah.
Sometimes you couldn't talk them out of it. You know, like you'd have a conversation with them and you'd sort of get to know where they're at, what their experience is. A lot of them around that age, like 18, 19, 20, most of them had never had anything to do with firearms ever before. And they'd owned like a 22 and that was it. And you're like, well, mate, you're going to go from a 22 to this. Like, this is going to turn you off shooting. Because, but it's got a muzzle brake, doesn't matter. It's not going to eliminate the recoil. Yeah. But you're still going to feel it. And you know, they would spend big money. Like, they'd put a Nightfall scope on it, really set it up. And 3 months later, they're bringing it back in and going, I can't handle it. It's too much. I want to trade it back in. And, you know, they'd lose like 50 to 60% of it within that short amount of time. And it's like,
they want to buy something smaller, something more practical.
Yeah. And look, 338 lap too at the time was popular, but it was hard to sell like secondhand because, you know, ammo was expensive then. Yeah. Unless you reloaded for it, which made it a little bit cheaper. So that's why like secondhand prices or what we would offer customers was really low because they were hard to move on as secondhand firearm. But yeah, used to see a lot of that.
I can only imagine. Did you ever see guys come in and go, I've just got my license, I want to get my first firearm, give me a 22?
Yeah. Not very common, but yes. Or you'd get ones that would come in and they'd say, I've never shot before. What do you recommend? You know, and you get the ones that you would say to them, like, okay, get a 22, ammo's cheap, and go to the range, learn the fundamentals of it, everything like that. And a lot of them would be like, okay, yeah, cool. Well, let's start with that. Yeah, but then you would get the ones that would be like, can you show me what a 22 round looks like? And then you'd show them, and they're like, no, that's way too small. I want to shoot something bigger than that. You're like, okay, well, here's a 22 Magnum. No, I want something bigger than that. And, you know, they come in.
2D3.
You show them a 2D3, and they're like, no, it's still not big enough. you know, and then they'd walk out buying like a 243 or a 270 or something. You're like, mate, listen, that's gonna, if you're not used to how a rifle recoils and managing that recoil, even though, you know, for you and I, shooting a 270 or 243 is nothing, right? But we've shot bigger calibers. We started from the bottom and worked our way up over many years, right? Small, so we got accustomed to the different recoils. But when you're first shooting, never shot a gun before, and you jump onto a 243, it can be a bit of an eye-opener.
Well, that's how you start to develop a flinch.
Exactly right.
You start developing the flinch, and then
Correct.
you're stuck in it. You're stuck in it because your mind's always...
Yeah, correct.
Then you got to try to work yourself out of that flinch.
That's correct. And then they try and, you know, they'll go and try and shoot for groups, but they can't because they're not concentrating on what they're looking at. They're concentrating on, you know, like the trigger might have creep in it, and it's like, I know that on that third creep it's going to go off, and they're concentrating more on that, not what they're looking at.
Anticipation of
exactly.
it.
You know, and then they'll shoot like a 4-inch group and wonder why.
Well, the side picture, they're not worried about that so much as to what's going to happen after the shot gets let off.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It was a really, really enjoyable job. I loved it the whole time I was there. I mean, you know, you were a regular customer.
My wife listens to this.
How much money did you spend? Kelly, listen up.
How many receipts he told me to get rid of? Far out.
Can you put me a lower receipt, please?
So
much trouble.
But no, you know, it was a really good place to work. Yeah, I really enjoyed it there, and you got to meet a lot of different people, a lot of experienced people.
So what are some of the questions you would ask? Like, say, so I'm coming in and I want to buy my first hunting rifle for state forest hunting. That's what I'm going to say to you. What's your first question?
Well, you know what? To be really honest, we didn't get a lot of people talking about state forest hunting then.
Really?
It wasn't a thing.
This was 10, 11 years ago.
It wasn't really a big thing.
Mm.
I can probably count on one hand how many people I spoke to about that were going to state forests. When I left, it was getting a bit more popular. Guys were coming in, buying GPSs, stuff like that, because they were starting to get into it. But when I started, nobody spoke about state forest hunting at all. Right. So, yeah. Oh, look, the probably the biggest seller for us was 223. For a lot of new shooters that wanted something with a little bit of oomph behind it. Mainly not shooting deer, but maybe, you know, goats or smaller pigs, like smaller feral game.
Hares and your rabbits.
Yeah. You know, because we never, and, you know, the guys that are still working there now, we never, like, we want people to enjoy it, right? Like, we're not going to be like, oh, you know, we'll just sell this guy the biggest gun we can because the ammo's the most expensive.
700 Nitro Express.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, we just,
you need that for a rabbit, mate.
You know, you want them to enjoy it and come back and go, well, I really like that. I'll buy another rifle in whatever. Yeah. So
I want to go a bit more heavier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's when you showed them the 243.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So, but there was a lot of experience there. There was an old gentleman that used to work there, Mr. B, we used to call him, full of knowledge.
Top bloke.
Like, absolute encyclopedia of firearms, and, you know, he was probably early 70s when I was there. But
yeah, he was a good friend of the late Nick Harvey's too, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He used to come in and he used to work Thursday nights and Saturdays, and he used to come in and tell me about his conversations with Nick Harvey. Oh, you know, I spoke to Nick the other day. We were talking about this. Like, he had that much knowledge about it. You couldn't get enough out of him. So
those blokes are rare. Right?
Oh, and he used to love talking to people about it. Loved Seikos. Like, you couldn't get him to.
So anything else had to be a Seiko.
He could sell anybody a Seiko. He knew the ins and outs of them. Absolutely loved them. Used to make me laugh when he bought God, I can't remember what it was now. It was a Seiko 85. I think it was a brown bear in 375. And he was telling me about his scheme of getting it home where his wife wouldn't know the difference because he had so many Seikos and they all looked the same. He went for the same sort of style, like, timber stock, blued, or the Bavarian, but they all looked very similar. So he's like, this is my idea, and I'm going to get it home, and I'm going to get it in the gun safe, and she won't even know because it looks like this one. He's just,
You're giving away all the secrets now, Anthony. Yeah. You're giving out the trade secrets now.
He was really good. So, good experience working there. I think if you're a young bloke and you're into it and you can get that role, it's a good experience.
It just puts you further and further down the rabbit hole.
Oh, look, to be honest, I thought I knew a lot about firearms and that before I started there. But when I started there and you start talking to manufacturers and suppliers and you really start getting to the little nitty-gritty about things, you're like, wow, I actually didn't know.
I knew nothing.
It's, like a lot of things that you get into with it, like how they make stuff and suppliers that would come in and they'd give you information booklets on it. You're like, oh, I didn't know that this was done this way or made this way. And
I remember that you were talking about Nightfall scopes and like you were talking at me about them at length, and I thought, man, this guy's been to the bloody factory where they've manufactured it. Like
I got right into that.
You got right into the Nightfall scopes.
Yeah, so I got into it to a point where, so we had obviously Light Force in South Australia. They were a supplier. But then we also had the contact number for Night Force in America. And I got to the point where when I really wanted to know something, I was ringing those guys.
They're happy to tell you. They're so happy to tell you.
Oh, yeah. And they were like me. They would talk on the phone for an hour about, the product and what it does and how they test it and stuff like that. So...
And that would have been good knowledge to pass on to the customer too once they wanted to buy.
Yeah, you know what? It's, look, people aren't silly, right? Most people know if you bullshit them about products.
Taking the piss.
But I was so invested with Night Force. So I remember as a kid, like Frank and I used to get the sporting shooter mags, the Guns and Games mags. And I remember seeing the advertisement for the Night Force scopes. But as a kid, we thought they were like night vision scopes.
Yeah,
didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
But I always had this fascination with them. And it wasn't until I started working at Abella's that I could afford to get one. And then I got my first one and that was it. Then I was like, oh, I'm hooked. But yeah, like the way they manufacture them, what goes into them, like I got right into it. And because I'm into long range and stuff like that, we got to a point where we were like, they were going out the door hand over fist, like Night Force. And I think people could see that, okay, well, this guy's really passionate about selling them. He knows what they're about. And I can honestly say, hand on heart, the whole time I was there, not one of them came back for warranty at all. But working there too, I had that privilege of being able to use other equipment, test it out, seeing what it was like. So I'd been through a lot of scopes, so I kind of knew what works and what doesn't for long range. And sorry?
And what you like.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had tried a lot of different brands, and don't get me wrong, like all brands have got their good points and their bad points, but at the time for what we had in the store, if you were wanting to shoot long range, that's what you were getting off the shelf. We didn't have like Schmidt and Benders and stuff like that. We didn't have them in store. We could get them in, but we didn't have them there.
You just have to know what you wanted, and like
exactly,
once you ordered it, like you're having it. You couldn't look through it. You couldn't do any of that.
That's right.
That would be the hardest, owning a gun shop and going, what variations of the rifle do I bring in?
Yeah.
Because, oh man, how long is a piece of string? You've got caliber differences.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be blued, whether it be stainless steel, whether it be timber stock, whether it be synthetic, and if it's going to be the different camo patterns. Like you think about one rifle, one caliber, you probably can have 5, 6, 7 alterations.
Yeah.
And then you expand that by a plethora of different calibers. Man, like you could have a gun shop that's just full of everything. Just one of everything would be a massive amount.
Yeah.
And then each different brand.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that would be the hardest thing, trying to have that inventory model. Trying to go, what am I keeping? Like, obviously, you got your bread and butters, but that's changed over time too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, obviously, the 223, 243, 308, but you speak to a lot of people now, and they're going away, especially with the, 6.5 PRC, 7.5.
Yeah.
7 PRC, 6.5 Creedmoor. There's so many extra calibers now that people are getting excited about or using.
That's right, yeah.
It'd be a tough gig.
Yeah, I remember being younger, and the 243 used to be everyone.
The bee's knees.
The bees in 243.
The 6 mil, it was the all rounder.
And now it's 308. I got 308. Everyone's got bloody 308.
308 or 6.5 Creedmoor.
Do you think that's come with the change of quarry as well? Like with the, deer weren't that prolific on the scene when you go back there.
Yeah.
Whereas compared to now, where you've got the 308 that pretty much can handle the majority of game species that we have.
I think everyone is now getting into harvesting their own meat and stuff like that. So they want a caliber that
can do everything.
Yeah, pretty much just one-stop shop of the new guy getting into it. New guy getting into it may buy the 22, start off with, learn some skills with that, and be picking off, rabbits and hares and foxes or whatever else. But once they get to the next level, like they are having a good hard look at either buying a 243 or 308. Because the 243 is pretty sure it's parent shell's a 308, isn't it? Same shell.
Yeah. It's
so like
neck down.
It's
6
just
mil.
neck down. Yeah. So like you're looking at you got guys really looking hard going, do I buy the 243 or do I buy the 308 just in case the Sambo or the red deer jumps out?
Yeah.
And you got to have over 270 cal to be hunting Victoria.
Yep. Which is the downfall of 6.5 Creedmoor.
Yeah.
I think that comes in it.
That and the haircut, you got to have one too.
Hey mate, I got a nice haircut and I've got a Creedmoor.
Yeah, I've got a Creedmoor. He's probably wrong group to say that to.
You two boys like sharing a camp bed together.
Yeah, but we hit things, mate. Big difference between you. You could get a stick and it probably has the same.
Probably has the same effect.
So do you take your 6.5 every time you go?
No, the 6.5's on it's on a big chassis.
That's on a chassis.
Yeah.
Such a long range.
Yeah, and I'm not an idiot. And I mean that in the nicest possible way to Frodo over here carrying away.
Hey, you told me to bring it. You said, hey, I've got a spot for you. Bring it along.
Jesus.
I'm hand on heart and happy to say, if you actually get him behind the rifle where you need to be, just point it and he'll shoot it. That's fine. But like the thing is getting him and the rifle where you need to be. So like,
I've got witnesses.
Well, yeah, so here's the
footage.
We do.
Here's the issue though. I'd like to see the footage because I don't trust him because his eyesight. We've proven his eyesight's not that great at close range.
It's actually his brother.
If you're telling me you're shooting something at 800 and he goes, "Yep, you hit," I don't buy it.
My brother, he filmed it. He got it on.
Yeah.
He got it on camera.
What's your longest?
Longest kill is 896. There was 3 in a row. 896, I think it was 884, and then 850 something. One after the other.
But you just come out of that long range.
Yeah, I did a long range course at Canberra.
I want to do that.
Fantastic.
Good.
Highly recommend it. If somebody is into long range shooting and you want to be properly shown, absolutely do it. It's worth the money. Again, I was working at Abellas at the time. Me and Adrian, who's still working there, we went together. Both shooting 308s. I had at the time a stock Savage, can't remember what it was now, a heavy barreled stainless varmint rifle. It was super accurate.
It was a 308.
308.
Night Force. They had Night Force and that timber stock.
It was a laminate stock. Laminate timber stock. Yeah. It was like a varmint model that they had. And Adrian had a custom Target 308. But Canberra it was kind of funny because I'll never forget the first day. It was a 4-day course, and I'll never forget the first day. And we go in there, and the two guys doing it, I think it was Glenn and Rob off the top of my head were their names. One was ex-military, one was ex-police. Both worked in marksmanship, sniper, so they had a lot of knowledge between them. And so the first thing they did, we had a bit of a briefing in the room. There was about 12 guys, and then we all got our rifles out, obviously made sure they were all safe and everything. And Glenn and Rob went through and checked everyone's rifles, checked the scopes, make sure they were right. They were sitting square. There was a few that had to be adjusted, everything like that. They did all their checks. Then we went out to the range, 100 metres, re-sighted them in, made sure they were on. And then they set us up. So it was a 1,000-metre range at Canberra. And they had clay targets set up out there. And they set us all up, and they gave us all the wind readings, and they said, all right, look, who's got a ballistic app in their phone? And everyone had a ballistic app of some sort. And they said, okay, well, this is what the wind's doing. This is the distance. It's a known distance. This is your humidity, whatever. We're going to give you all the information, put as much as you can in, and then one by one, we'll tell you to dial, and you each have a shot. Well, none of us got anywhere near the clays.
You're right.
I didn't even know where my shot went. So
That's not the first time.
and the whole reason they did that was just to show us that if what you've got isn't accurate, isn't working, there's no way you're going to make shots connect at that distance.
Yeah.
And then they then got behind someone's rifle. I don't even remember what caliber it was. I think it was a 6.5 by 284. They used this guy's rifle. Stuart, his name was, because I remember him, he was a customer at Abella's. And they got behind his rifle, and Rob was giving Glenn all the data. He was putting it into his own PDA, and first round hit. And we're all just looking at each other like, shit, we know nothing.
But you're there to learn about it.
100%.
Yeah.
And by the end of the 4-day course, everyone was either hitting those clays first round, or at least, getting like right in there and getting them on the second round.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did, which they said to us, look, download Applied Ballistics app. It's the best one you can get. I downloaded it. I've been using it ever since. Haven't gone back to anything else. I know there's others out there that are probably just as good, but I find the Applied Ballistic app to be super accurate. Even with, like when your brother got his Creedmoor,
Yeah.
just the box ammo that he bought, just off the back of it. So I can't even remember what the velocity was, but we basically, because you know how on the back they sort of tend to exaggerate the velocity a bit, we knocked, I think, like 50 feet per second off it, put it into this app, and his brother and we all had a crack. It was 500-meter gong, like first round hits. Like people that have never shot past 100 meters with factory like hunting ammo. It wasn't even long range ammo. Like 500 meters on a 10-inch plate, first round hits.
Great app. Fantastic.
The app works and you can put so much data into it, so you can really dial it in.
Yeah.
It's like it's a one-off purchase. I think it was $40-something off the top of my head, but that's it. Then once you've got it, you've got it.
You've got it. Yeah.
And it's like anything. Like once you're shown, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. It's but that course, yeah, if you're into long range, it's the best thing ever. They teach you different shooting positions in the field. They were saying to us, look, you guys, most of you here are probably hunters as well. You're not always going to have the perfect position to lay down prone.
Yep.
So we were shooting off, like they had chairs, but like they were simulating like tree branches.
Yep.
And, sitting up against a tree and, in an awkward position. Kind of like, they likened it to like, sniper position. Sometimes you can't always be laying down, right? But they said it's practical out in the field. Like,
it's more like the precision rifle sort.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly. And even the way, like we were shooting in positions where, the butt of the rifle was sitting on top of your shoulder, and the scope's like that far away from your eye. But they're saying, if you hold your bipod and hold that rock steady, the recoil's not going to hit you.
Really?
And we were shooting like that in these positions at 400 or 500 meters and hitting like these steel plates, and it's amazing. Like,
wow.
Just obviously it's experience, right? Like
yeah, definitely.
I think they had like something like 20-something years experience between them, and just all that, you're like, far out. Like, this is
impressive.
Yeah, and like you said, when you get shown, and people
You're
that
probably coached and everything like
exactly
that.
right, you're like, oh, well, it actually worked.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. I think a lot of guys nowadays need to invest in that sort of coaching and that sort of knowledge.
Yeah.
And it just excels your learning curve, something fierce.
Oh, it does.
Like gone are the days where like the learning was reading 10 years worth of sporting shooter magazines.
Yeah, exactly right.
Now it's just like, you can do all these, hunter education courses and things
exactly.
like that. You can pretty much need to do a course you need to do for every stage you're moving up in your hunting career.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
They absolutely.
If you invest in that, it's a good investment, not only time but money as well. Because you don't have to you're not trying to get all that experience. You literally go on there, and these guys who have done those 20 years of shooting can then give you that coaching, and then in a matter of 4 days, you're then gone from missing a 500 meter target to hitting the center of a clay target at 500 meters. Like,
yeah, it's
fantastic skill to have, especially shooting a cross gully or something like that.
They really put a lot of things into perspective. Like, so like my Nightfall scopes only go up to 15 power, but no problem shooting a clay at 1,000 meters. You can see it clear as day. Optics are good, nice field of view. I had the thought of, it's not going to be enough. I'm going to need like at least a 30 or something. They're like, no, you don't need any of that. You just need good quality optics. You do not need to zoom in to the point where you can count the hairs on their face. Like, it's they made us realize that your field of view with a good clear optic is more important than zooming right in on the target, because if you miss and you see where your splash is, you can measure that with your scope and adjust.
Yeah.
If you're zoomed right in and you miss, you don't know where it is.
Yeah,
you're forever chasing it. So things like that, where they make you realize, like, oh yeah, like, they're right.
That's a good tip. That's a real good tip.
So, but yeah, if you want to do it, definitely do it. So it's so good.
There's so many things you want to do to get better. Just the time and money and order. It's hard. It's really hard to.
It's all part of the game, isn't it? It's all part of the game.
Yeah.
Justifying which is priority. It depends how you hunt too. If you're in Vic and you're doing a lot of that cross gully stuff, I get wanting to do the long range stuff and dial that in.
Yeah.
But like, from what I've experienced in state forest, there's not that much long distance, like over 200 meter shots that's available.
It's all close quarter stuff.
Well, now that you mention it, I think there was a group of guys there, 5 of them, and they were all from Vic.
Were they?
And they were shooting bigger calibers. I think one had a 300 rum. I think there was a couple of 7mm rem mags in there. But yeah, they were predominantly sandbar hunters.
Which makes sense if you're sitting across and you've got a long shot.
Yeah, definitely. It's good fun. I like the skill of it. Like, when you think about that small projectile travelling that distance and being able to hit something that's 4 inches round, like, the
chances of it are pretty slim.
It's a skill to it. Like,
100%.
Being able to read wind and stuff like that. Not that I'm much good at reading the wind. That's a variable that just is always changing. But like, that's what they were saying. Like, the more variables you can take out of it, the easier it is. So, getting something that, like an accurate rangefinder that's going to give you an accurate range, an accurate ballistic app, things like that. The more information you can put in to take out those variables, the easier it is. And that made total sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed doing that course. The guys that did it, I don't actually know. It was Precision Shooting Australia is the one I did it through. I don't know if they're still doing it. I'm not sure, but they may be doing it under a different name now, but I haven't looked them up for a long time. But yeah, I think it was about $1,000 for 4 days down at Canberra, and we just stayed in a hotel nearby the range. And
yeah, it's not that bad, is it?
that was good. It was, yeah.
Yep, they're still doing it.
Yeah?
Still doing it. It's a 2-day course now.
Yeah, right. So I believe they did a course as well. That was a 5 or a 6 day course, and that was for the big calibers, and it was at a private range. I can't remember where it was now, but I think that was a mile, and that was for like the big 50s and 408s, the guys that had the big calibers there. There was one guy, I think I might have told you, when I did my course, he had it was a Wildcat, a 375 Staghound, I think it was called.
Oh, that's a big rifle.
And the first time he hit the steel plate at 1,000 meters, it ripped it off the cables. Like, first round, just ripped it straight off the cables, and they're like, well, you're not shooting the steel plates anymore. Like, at 1,000 meters, they're like, far out. That's crazy.
And that was a Wildcat.
I'm pretty sure it was.
What was that shell based off?
A 408.
408.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big shell. That's a big shell. Be three 400 gram powder.
Oh, it was huge. I remember the muzzle blast coming out of it.
Oh yeah.
From the muzzle brake. It was intense. Like, you couldn't be within 10 meters of the bloke. Like, it was nuts. It was nuts. And so every time, like, he would shoot, he'd either be at the other end, like, way away from everyone. Yeah. Or it'd be him on his own, and we'd all be standing back waiting. Like, it was pretty full on.
Oh yeah, they're still doing it. There you go.
Well, there you go. They're still doing it. Well, there you go. Something for someone to look into.
What time did we start this?
I have absolutely no idea.
Righto.
A long time ago.
Yeah,
it's 11.
It's 11 o'clock now.
Is it?
We might have to wrap it up, I reckon.
You went for half an hour on just long range precision.
Oh, did I? Well, sorry. You can tell I like it. I don't get to do it enough. My apologies.
That's all right.
Well, we haven't covered much long range on the podcast, so it's not a bad.
I told you, if you're on long range, you have a chat to him. If you're on long range stuff, you want to miss that 20, tell me. I'll tell you what to do.
If you want to miss
it, 20.
Anyway.
All right, well, boys, it's always a pleasure catching up, and I can't wait till we get back out there and have a hunt again. I think we'll be out together. Frankie's not coming to our camp. He's
No.
He's
going to the more superior camp.
That's cool. Jeez, I hope you get a deer.
If we both
get deer and he just continues with his track record at the other camp, I feel he only goes to the other camp to try and win the cooking competitions because that's where his strength is.
I think so.
That's about it.
Come on, the prizes.
He's not a bad chef, old Franco.
Oh, no.
Except when he cooks
my
pasta.
pasta.
Except when he blames your cooktop.
Yeah, I
didn't
know.
see that. Yeah, mate, did you get rid of that candle in the wind thing? Talk about upgrade next year.
Well, mate, it was windy and it was snowing. What did you expect?
This is staying in.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. You just sail me down the river with it too. No, well, yeah. There's a couple of things you don't chip me on. One's me dog. Everything else is pretty.
She's a great pet.
What was that? What was the video I put up? The beagle.
Scooby Dooby
The
beagle's like pointing that way, and the deer's behind it.
Just looking at it.
Oh,
that was about 20 meters away.
The funniest thing.
Joan finds the deer. It's me that lets her down. I let her down. I know. That's why I'm Joan's disappointment.
It's true. It's true.
You can put that on a shirt too. I want royalties from that as well. I'm gonna be so rich.
That's a good shirt too.
Joan's disappointment. Yeah.
Oh, there's just so many. I'm gonna have a Frank collection.
I'm retiring next year. For sure. For sure. Anyway,
that'll be good. And then snow camp.
Yeah.
Snow camp would be great.
We'll hit that up.
All the boys can come back again, and we can trying to smash a sandbar.
Who's
your money on for the first sandbar in the camp?
I reckon James or Rob, to be honest.
Yeah, I got money on James.
Well, I don't know if your brother comes, it might be him.
It's true.
James is an arsey. He's got the luck. He just every time he goes out, he's there. It's right time, right spot.
I think
Look, when I say arsey, he knows what he's doing. He's a very good hunter.
Yeah.
But
Maybe we should all just follow him next time.
I'll shoot one off him, that's for sure. We'll get him back.
I could just see it now. James will be like, "There's a deer there." Matt will be like, "Get out of the way! It's mine."
That's mine. I seen it first.
I'll put a snap cap in there so he doesn't know, and then he'll pull the trigger and I'll just finish it off.
You missed. I got him. You missed. I got him.
You see that, James? I got it. Suck on that.
Poor James. He's got a couple of heads on his wall. He's a nice fella.
Yeah, he's a great bloke. No, I'm looking forward to Snow Camp. Snow Camp's good because it's a good bunch of guys. That was a blast. So I'm keen.
It was a heaps of good
keen
trip.
for that one, and I'm keen for Crate Camp to meet a lot of different people as well. I think that'll be a good one. Just getting out there with everyone, having a bit of a hunt, and meeting new people, sharing camp, and still being able to just go off and do your thing.
Well, this is it, eh?
It's just a normal hunt, just sharing a camp, which is what I like about it. So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
You'd be able to take a couple of our other mates as well.
Yeah.
To Crate
Well,
Camp.
No, it's open to anyone. So
if they can get out from underneath the thumb.
Look, Anthony will get out of there. The lantern who will return.
The lantern will return. Brighter than ever.
Hope it doesn't have to be carried too much. Oh, the lantern.
actually, I reckon no one will have an indicating dog at Crate Camp.
Oh, man,
I don't think anyone that is coming
No.
has an indicating dog.
No,
So
yeah,
that'll be interesting.
It's when he shoots, make sure it goes down.
Yeah, I know, right? Bloody hell.
I'm pumped for that. I feel this year is going to be 2025 is going to be a good year. It's going to be a real good year.
I'm just really looking forward to it.
A couple of different hunts coming up.
I'll be a little bit lighter.
I really do enjoy I love the hunting, but it's good when we sit around and we have a laugh and
It is. That's what's all.
to be really honest, we didn't do all hunting last time, right?
Don't put that. The wife's
But-
listening to this.
Mate, there's no Brokeback Mountain stuff. I don't know.
Because of the circumstance we were in, right?
Pants around ankle sort of stuff. Anyway,
Like we had a great time.
we did.
Like
It was a fantastic time.
it was a bloody good time.
We enjoyed our time together, and just everyone was just taking the piss out of each other, and it just got funnier and funnier.
It was very funny.
It just got funnier.
I wish we would have recorded the whole thing because just the random topics, the convos, the stirring up of everybody was so damn funny, and just random stuff. It was that was very, very funny stuff.
Yeah, it was bloody good. It was a good trip.
If the next one's half as funny as that, it will be a cracker.
It'll still be a good one.
Yeah,
it'll still be a great one. But yeah, we'll just less snow next time would be great, Matt. If you can.
I'll try and forecast that out. You know,
that'd be fantastic if you could.
90 days out, that should be fine. Yeah, no worries.
You're giving my brother some anxiety now because he's going to have a tree fall on top of him.
Oh, no, I've got a better campground.
One with no trees.
Yep. Yeah, campground far better. Under the snow line will be sweet.
He won't be with his little tent anyway. I think he'll be coming with me.
He'll be coming with you, will he?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Unless he gets himself a car, but yeah, if he doesn't, he said he'll be jumping in with me.
Well, there you go. Hopefully not the same swag.
No, we won't fit.
Matt
It will be like it'll be like three
Three
wombats in a swag, eh? That'll be interesting. Picture Matt's listeners being like, "What? What kind of podcast are we listening to?"
Yeah, no. If they haven't turned off by now, then they're just as deviant, I suppose. Just as deviant as Matt. Anyway.
Good fun. Well, boys, been a pleasure. As always, good to catch up and looking forward to doing again tomorrow night when we're at Bloody Carol's. Thank you for that. That's really what I wanted to do. So I appreciate the invite, and yes, we'll be Christmas carols together.
Look, the problem we're going to have is the wives are going to meet each other.
You suggested it. You can't sit there and suggest this and then go, oops.
Yeah, I've suggested stupid things before, like introducing you to my cousin, and look at we're here now.
Look how much fun we're having.
He gets so offended, doesn't he? For all listeners, I get these messages going, I've tried to talk to cousin Anthony. I haven't heard from him. Have you? And I go, yeah, I have. And he gets so upset. Can you message him? He hasn't got back to me. And then when we went out for dinner the other night and we sent a photo, he was spewing.
It's only because I refused to get to download Grindr and talk to you on it. I'm sorry.
You got to get with the times, Franco.
Righto. 2024, you can identify as anything, mate. You identify as a deer hunter.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That was rough.
That was a good one.
I'm going to stop with the backstrap.
All right, guys. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the Australian Hunting and Beyond podcast with Matt. Thanks for tuning in and can't wait to catch you next time. But in the meantime, if you want more, you can find it at linktr.ee/Australian Hunting and Beyond. That will give you our YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, you name it. We'll catch you next time.